You're saving consistently month after month, the account grows, and every time you check it, you're doing the math in your head. Am I at 500,000 yet getting close to 1 million? There's a finish line you can see. But something feels off. You're making solid money. You've cut unnecessary spending. You're ahead of most people your age. And yet the closer you get to that 1 million number, the more fragile it looks. The goalposts keep moving. The timelines keep stretching. And worst of all, nobody explains what 1 million actually means on the other side. They just say chase it, but the math tells a different story. Hi, this is Mark. Here's what you've probably been told: 1 million is the retirement magic number. Save $1 million and you're done. That's the headline. That's the benchmark. That's what your parents heard, what financial advisors repeat, what retirement articles use as shorthand for "you're secure." The number stuck because it's simple, it's round, it sounds scientific, but here's the problem: it was written for a different world. And that world doesn't exist anymore. Let me show you what's actually happening to that 1 million. Take it at face value: $1 million, retire at 65. $1 million, retire at 65. You've got 25 to 30 years ahead of you. On paper, that sounds long, but inflation doesn't wait. Right now, with current inflation running 3% annually, which is the baseline, not the worst case, your 1 million loses roughly 40% of its purchasing power over 25 years. You still have $1 million in your account, but it buys what 600,000 buys today. You're not physically richer, you're mathematically poorer, while watching your balance stay flat. That's before healthcare even enters the conversation. Here's the layer most plans miss. Healthcare costs don't inflate at 3%. They inflate at 4.5 to 5.5%. That's nearly double. A 65-year-old retiring today should expect to spend $300,000 to $500,000 on healthcare alone across retirement. Not per year, across the whole thing. But that number is rising. A man retiring 10 years from now, he's looking at $600,000 to $1 million. Just for medical costs. That's not an edge case. That's the structure. The 4% rule tells you that you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio annually. On 1 million, that's $40,000 per year. Sounds reasonable until you subtract taxes. Federal taxes on 40,000 of withdrawals run 12 to 22%. Depending on your income mix and state, you're down to 31,000 to 35,000. That's your actual spending money in today's dollars. Before it gets inflated, before you adjust for rising healthcare, before you take a vacation or face an unexpected expense. Can you live on that? Maybe some people do, but that's not why you're saving 1 million. You're saving it because you believed it meant security. It doesn't, it means constraint. Let's run a concrete scenario. You and a spouse both working, combined household income 150,000. You've been diligent, you're 45, you've built 450,000, you're on track for 900,000 by 65. You feel good about it. You've got a mortgage. You've got a car payment. You've got 2 kids. You hope to help through college or at least launch into adulthood. Your current spending is about 85,000 a year, comfortable, not excessive. You're thinking in 20 years maybe I can trim that to 70,000 and live on my 40,000 portfolio withdrawals, supplemented by Social Security. Here's what you're not accounting for. Lifestyle inflation is real, and it doesn't pause for retirements. You're not going to retire and suddenly feel satisfied spending 50% of what you're spending now. Travel happens. Medical issues emerge. One parent gets sick and needs help. Your grandchild is born and you want to be present. You start taking that fishing trip you've been postponing. None of these are luxuries. They're just life, but they cost money. Studies show retirees actually spend more in the first 10 years of retirement. Not less. It's the go-go years. You're healthy, you want to move around, you want to experience things you put off. What happens when that 40,000 annual withdrawal suddenly needs to be 60,000 to match what you actually want to live? The math breaks, you start drawing down principal faster. Faster, your portfolio shrinks, quicker sequence of returns, risk kicks in. If a bear market hits years 1 through 3 of your retirements, and it will eventually, you're forced to sell stocks at low prices to fund lifestyle. That locks in losses, it accelerates your portfolio decline. Suddenly, you're not looking at 30-year sustainability. On 30 a real dawn economy call it the RP. On 30 a real dawn economy call it the up to rest of dot portamo RDs twitter dot level. When you're looking at a portfolio that could run dry in your late 80s. This is where the 1 million illusion shatters. The number was sold as a standalone solution. Reach 1 million and you're safe. But it was never designed for today's inflation rates, healthcare acceleration, or actual human spending patterns. It was built in a context where people retired at 65, lived to 78, and healthcare was simpler. None of that is true anymore. Here's what's actually happening in the system. Financial advisors use 1 million because it's a recognized benchmark. It's easier to tell a client we're aiming for 1 million than to do the real work of calculating what they actually need. Retirement calculators default to it. Articles use it as a reference point. It creates an illusion of standardization. Everyone's saving toward the same target, so it must be right. But that consensus is built on outdated assumptions, not updated math. The real issue is that 1 million works if and only if you're disciplined with spending in retirement. Most people aren't. You live in a low-cost state, Florida, Tennessee, not California or New York. You didn't have major health events. You get lucky with market timing. Your spouse dies at 85 instead of 95. That sounds dark, but longevity risk is real. People are living longer. A 65-year-old man today has a reasonable chance of hitting 90. A married couple has a meaningful chance that one of them lives to 95. That's 30 years of withdrawals, not 25. The 1 million math breaks at that timeline. You also need Social Security to work out correctly, which means you're betting on a system that's actuarially stressed. Your projected benefits assume Congress doesn't cut them. That's an assumption, not a guarantee. Who actually wins in this system? People with multiple income streams in retirements, rental properties, pensions, passive business income, or people who got to retire early because they earned high salaries and invested aggressively, or people with family money, or people whose spouses are still working. Most people don't have those variables aligned. Most people are trying to extract $40,000 to $60,000 per year from a portfolio they spent 40 years building, hoping it doesn't run out. The paradox is this: you can be diligent, save consistently, reach 1 million, and still face financial stress in retirement. Not because you failed, because you were chasing a number designed for someone else's life. Let me pull back and reframe this completely. The real planning process doesn't start with 1 million. It starts with a question you should have asked years ago but probably never did. How much do I actually need to spend each month in retirements? In today's dollars, and for how long? Not 1 million, not 40,000 annually. Those are abstraction. What you need is this. I need 5,500 monthly for housing, food, utilities, insurance. I need another 1,200 for healthcare once I'm on Medicare. And it will grow. I need 800 for fun travel flexibility. That's roughly 7,500 monthly. In today's dollars across potentially 30 years. Now work backward. A 7,500 monthly need is 90,000 annually, with 4% withdrawal rate that requires a 2.25 million portfolio. Not 1 million, 2.25 million. That's a different conversation. That's a different savings target. That's a different plan. But here's what happens when advisors or articles quote 1 million. They're not telling you that number. They're obscuring it. They're letting you chase a finish line that won't actually finish anything. If you want the next breakdown in this series, the one that shows you how to actually calculate your number and stress test it against real inflation and healthcare costs, subscribe. This is Mark.